What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to do with you guys. This is the Yobotool Silvback. Yobotool, isn't it that company that kind of makes some weird stuff? Yeah. So Yobotool has made some knives that I wasn't overly enthusiastic about. They do have 4 models total. This is the third one you've seen on this channel. This is a very interesting and much more compelling knife. I am very excited to talk about that, absolutely. Before I do, I just want to remind everybody, I do have Patreon. So if you've been watching my channel for a while and you've been enjoying my content, you like daily knife videos, if you'd like to support me and help me reach my next goal, which is 90 patrons, up from 80 on the previous goal, you can follow the link down in the description, have a look around, and then you can join any tier. At the $3 tier, I do have Metal Complex logo stickers, and then I've also got the Metal Knight helmet sticker at the $5 tier, but you can join any tier and it counts. We do a once a week Patreon exclusive video. What's it all about? It's a secret, but I promise it's really, really fun. So if that sounds good to you, feel free to check that out. The support would absolutely mean the world to me. Anyways, let's go ahead and get a measurement on this guy. So this long and slender knife, well, long in appearance, slender in appearance, coming in at only a little bit over 8 inches, like 8.1 inches overall. Tip to scale, you're looking at about a 3.65 inch blade, 3.5 inches on the cutting edge. That's awesome considering the overall length here, absolutely. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1? Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall, so you can see there it's a little bit longer. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall, again, just a little bit longer. How about up against the Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches. Actually, technically, it's like 8.1. So they're about almost exactly the same length, but you're getting more blade with the Silvback. How about up against the Benchmade Bug Out? Benchmade Bug Out coming in at 7.5 inches overall, so a little bit smaller there. And last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches. How's the action on this guy? The action is pretty darn good. That's been the case with the other Yobotool knives. They're no different than any of the other. This is a knife that's made in China, and it's one I'd consider to be in the budget category. It's no different than the action that we're seeing on very well-made budget knives now. The detent is figured out. It is running on bearings. It's got a nice action. It's just a little bit of a wiggle shut, but really, really nice. I mean, actually, dare I say, better than the other Yobotool knives that I've handled. Was really impressed by that. By the way, this knife was provided for free, actually just given to me by the Yobotool company, so I very much appreciate that. You guys know, that generally doesn't change whether or not I'm able to give an honest review. You guys heard my thoughts on the other two, and those were donated. Yeah, so full disclosure there. So anyways, what does this guy weigh? What are we working with in terms of materials? We're looking at VG10 steel and a very slender and pretty thin stock. Let's go ahead and get a measurement here real quick. If I can turn this guy on, zero it out. So stock thickness, 120 thousandths or so, so not super duper thick. We're looking at steel, combination of G10 and steel, and then a steel backspacer. While it does look good, it looks really good. I really like how that looks. It almost looks like an integral. That's what I really like about it. Is anybody who doesn't know what integral means, it means the handle's all one piece, and then they have to make it, they have to precision machine it, one piece for the handle, get everything right in one shot, or they have to do it over. Because of how close everything is on the back here, it really looks like an integral, and I like that. But it does make this knife a little bit heavy, so keep that in mind. 8-inch knife coming in at 4.37 ounces. It's not really that bad. It's actually not as bad as I thought. I never measure or weigh these while I'm carrying them and kind of getting my thoughts on them because I don't want to create negative bias. I want to actually develop my thoughts. I just, for whatever reason, it's heavier than it looks, right? So it's really not all that heavy, no big deal. So anyway, let's get on with this here. We are looking at a completely sterile satin and tumbled finish two-tone blade, and that's really nice. Thank you for doing that, Yobotool. I like that, they did that with their other two. There's no markings or logos or anything on the blade. It looks really, really nice. I like it a lot. The blade does come down to a professionally sharpened edge. There's no nicks or rolls or anything. It feels really, really nice. It's VG10 steel. VG10 would not be my first choice knife in this price range, but it is completely appropriate. A lot of people really like VG10. It sharpens up incredibly easily. It holds an okay edge, and it's stainless, right? I think it is reasonably tough. I don't think there's going to be any argument against VG10 in this price range. I think that's just fine. I like that they put it on the spine. Speaking of the spine, it has been nicely knocked down. There are no sharp edges anywhere except for right there at the very end where there's no chamfering and the satin part meets, I guess, the taper towards the tip. But that's not a big deal. You're not going to be putting your fingers up there. Everywhere else, it's fine. It doesn't feel like an absolute laser beam behind the edge, but it feels thin enough to get your EDC task done, which is exactly what this knife was designed to do, right? An EDC knife, paper, some cardboard, some tape, some rope, you know, plastic, I'm sure every now and then, stuff like that. It's just fine. Blade is great. It's got some jimping, some functional jimping back here. Very, very comfortable. The flipper tab works perfectly. It's shaped in a way that's going to allow you to deploy it and sort of fidget with it over and over again. There is no double clutch, which is nice, meaning it's well past the detent ball by the time the flipper tab meets your thumb. So it's very easy to do this over and over and over again. It's actually quite a joy to flip repeatedly. It feels good. It kind of has a unique noise. I don't know. It's kind of nice. I like it. So moving on to the handle scales here, what we have are steel liners underneath it's not a bolster, it's just a second part of the scales here. And I like it. It's kind of it's got a unique look. It kind of, people are going to get mad at me. It kind of looks like a skunk. But it's also kind of cool. It also kind of looks like a racing stripe on a car, you know. But I know as soon as I said skunk, people are like, I can't get that out of my head now. There are different colors of this, guys. You don't have to do silver and black. You can do different colors. But this is probably a configuration I would choose it in, despite that. You have some lines down here. I'm not sure what purpose they serve, but okay, that's fine. No big deal. That's probably where the name Silvback came from. I'm not sure if it means something else, but it's got sort of a silver back to it, a silver spine. So that's cool. It's kind of a cool name. It's a cool look. I like it. On top of that, the ergonomics are very good. I mean, they're not the best in the entire world, but it's a solid 7 to 8 out of 10. I can definitely hold on to this knife. I can get my whole hand around it. The primary choil or the primary finger area is in a good spot. You're going to get a little bit of rubbing on this guy right here. It's not sharp, but I can tell you if you're going to cut with it over and over and over again, that is going to start to wear on your finger a little bit. I have definitely handled worse knives that cost way more money, so that is not a reason to not pick this knife up. Let's take a look at the handle screws. What size are they? I'm going to guess that they are T6. By the way, this is my handy dandy WIA bit selector and my magnetic WIA driver. They're awesome. They are down in the description alongside some of the awesome knives that I show every day when I do my size comparisons, whether they are you know, high-end expensive knives or some budget knives. Everything is nicely categorized. Everything's nicely sorted. So whatever your itch, there's something down there for everybody. So check out my description. Anyways, let's check the size of these screws. They might be T7. Let's try this other one here. Again, I don't check this beforehand because I don't want to, you know, have a fussy opinion about it while I'm carrying it around. I want to check functionality first. Is that a T7? I think they definitely are T6. Yeah. So they're going to be T6 body screws. You guys know how I feel about that. That's not my favorite thing in the entire world. I would prefer that all knives are just universally like T8. Give me a T8 pivot, give me T8 body screws, and I'm happy. And then, you know, but it's T6. That stinks. Just be careful if you're going to take it apart. You can easily strip a head, you know, or a bit. Not a deal breaker though. You do have one screw down here that holds on the main G10 scale, which is peel ply texturing, not super aggressive, just enough, really just the way I like it. And then also the pivot is holding that down. And then you have these two screws back here that are holding this steel plate into the steel backspacer. There's a hole back here for a lanyard. By the way, let me point this out. The fitment of all these extra parts here is perfect. Back here on the spine, it is perfect. You can see the seam, but you cannot feel it. It is really, really nice. Considering what this knife costs, I'm happy with that. There's no sharp edges anywhere. Everything's nicely rounded off. I kind of like the little bump they create, you know, for these screws. It gives it some personality. Really, really like that backspacer. It does actually have a little bit of a glass breaker here on the end. That's nice. If you're going to be breaking glass, it's there. It's not obtrusive, and it's also not so pointy it's going to be annoying. For once, we have a pocket clip that is not excellent, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a little skinny. It's a little bit pokey right here. It's not going to be the best when you're trying to get it over your pants, but you know what? It works and it goes with the knife. Wasn't the biggest fan of the pocket clip on the Cayman or the Aurora. They were kind of weird or abnormally large or whatever. This is okay. It's going to ride about right here, not a whole lot sticking out of your pants, and it's going to do its job. Not my favorite pocket clip in the whole world, but it'll work just fine. The rest of the knife is much the same as the front, except that you have your T8. I'm pretty sure that's T8. Your T8 pivot there, your adjustment side of the pivot on this side. Let's go ahead and check it here real quick. Yeah, T8 pivot. So that's fine. Considering all the, the extra plates there, the steel plates, there's really not a lot of excess hardware. So it still should be pretty easy to break down. You have perfect centering. You can see right there, the knife is centered. Might be, after me playing with it, might have leaned ever so slightly this way, but a slight adjustment will bring it back. I've been playing with this guy a lot. You have plenty of room for the cutout here for the access point on the liner lock, which is great. That's something the Aurora did not have. And it's locking up absolutely solid. No blade play up, down, left, or right at about 50%. Really nice. So, yeah, I mean, little things to complain about here. It might be a little bit heavy for some people. It's definitely not heavy enough for me. It has an incredible carry profile. I mean, even with the flipper tab, your profile is fantastic versus other knives, that nobody ever seems to complain about, that have awkward carry profiles and nowhere near the same amount of cutting edge, right? The amount of cutting edge you're getting on this guy versus the larger PM2. I mean, look at your actual cutting edge. Yeah, there's a forward choil there, but I mean, if you're somebody who favors cutting edge, you're getting a lot more, and you're getting that coming up on 1-to-1 ratio between blade and handle, which is what a lot of people like. It also achieves that ratio without having a blade. A lot of times when you have this slim profile and it's 1-to-1, you have an issue where the blade is so close back here where you can touch it. Not the case with this knife. You can't touch it. That's really nice. This is a knife that I honestly would carry. It's stylish and cool and long and slender. I don't like the T6 body screws. The flipper tab's a little bit sharp up here. The pocket clip it's okay, but it's a little sharp right here, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to catch the seam of your pants. It's almost too low. Generally, I complain about pocket clips that stick up too high, but that's not the case there. It's VG10. It's okay. I don't really have a problem with that. So what does this knife run? I think you're going to find these knives out there between $45 and $55. Do I think that's a good price? Yeah, it's a very competitive price range. That's the thing. It's like somebody comes up to me and they're like, I got $50-ish, give or take $5 to spend on a good pocket knife. What can you recommend? A lot. I got a lot of knives that I can recommend. Here's what it's going to come down to. Ultimately, can I recommend this knife? Yeah, sure, alongside a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, this is going to go on my most recommended knives playlist. Somebody who's looking to spend $50 on a pocket knife, are they going to get a good pocket knife, a good functional, well-designed pocket clip, spending the money on this guy? Yeah, honestly, I can say that they can. And this was a big surprise from Yobotool knives. There's a lot of stuff out there. I could recommend a million things. It's going to come down to if you really like the look of this, right? You've got $50 to spend. You don't have a problem with VG10 steel, and you just really like the look, and you're like, Complex, is this made well? Is this something that's going to make me happy? Yeah, if you can overlook the quirky little, the little things with the pocket clip of the T6 screws, then yeah, I think you're really going to like this. Some highlights, again, completely sterile blade. Nowhere on it does it say made in China. It's got a good looking front side pivot. It's got a great looking body. I love this back here. That's really, really cool. And talk about structural integrity with the handle. When you have steel plates being screwed into another, steel backspacer, and it's all nicely fitted together. It's a good example of how well the tolerances are done on this knife, or how good the tolerances actually are on this knife. And it's nice and smooth, and it's going to give you that satisfactory bam, and it's got a good detent. Honestly, the flipping action on this guy is substantially better and more organic feeling than the other Yobotool knives that I've handled. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it. If you're interested in picking up this knife, there should be an Amazon affiliate link down there in the description that you guys can check out. Pick this up. You can check. There's going to be different colors and things like that, along with all the other stuff that I always talk about. My WIA bit selector and driver and the knives and blah, blah, blah. There's even the Rainbow Lady of the Sea down there, but you guys know that. But that's going to be pretty much it for today's knife overview and review. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this Metal Complex logo right here and subscribe, because there's definitely more content coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.